WTIM Morning Show. My name is Tim Zalabak. I'm sitting down with Andrew Holsinger right now out of the University of Illinois Extension. He is a horticulture educator. We're very excited to be talking to him today. Thank you so much for our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust and Landmark of Taylorville. Let's get right into it. Mr. Holsinger, how are you today?
Oh, doing well.
Thank you so much for being in here with me today. You got some great programs coming up today, and one that's a pressing issue because registration is today. It ends today. You can still register for it. You got a tree walk coming up at the Brimmer Sanctuary. Tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, the Brimmer Sanctuary is a Illinois Audubon site and has a lot of trails and places to take an adventure. They got a lot of native prairie plants. So we're going to be having the tree walk this Saturday, but we do have a registration that closes today. So if you want to get out and take a stroll, it looks like we're in a pocket of good weather. You know, we've had rain and some more rain expected, but it looks like it'll be sunny on Saturday. So perfect weather for this tree walk. We'll be taking a stroll, looking at some trees, giving some key characteristics of tree planting and how to take care of your trees. And it's a good time for planting trees here in the fall, so maybe give you some ideas. And that'll be from 10 to 11 this Saturday.
Awesome. Sounds like it's going to be a really fun day. Where's the Brimmer Sanctuary located? I think you might have said it. Where is that?
Just north of Hillsboro, off of the North Road.
Okay.
So
easy to find, I'm sure.
Yep.
It's a big sanctuary. The tree walk will be led by you.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Guided tree walk. So
Heck yeah.
I'll have a few handouts or what have you that you can go home with and just hope to enjoy the day. So sign up right away.
Hopefully weather stays nice for you. And I always think these are nice as an educational piece, because if you're going to plant a tree in your yard, you're going to want to know the proper ways to do so, the correct times, the what species of plant, what species of tree. So I'm sure people can gain a lot from these. Do you enjoy giving people this good information?
Yeah, I like going out and getting out of the office and doing some hands-on teaching and letting people experience nature. It's always a benefit whenever people are out in nature. But even more when you get engaged and you have, kind of the hands-on of experiences in nature. So,
yeah, totally. That's what these tree walks are really good for. They always sound fun. We were talking to some master gardeners a little bit ago because there's a Cahayas tree walk going on today, and that sounded like a really fun one as well. It's more education.
Well, it's not going on today. It's coming up in October.
Oh my gosh, October.
So October 21st. So about a month away. And that's going to be at the Cahayas Arboretum. Very lovely setting. They have a lot of trees there, nice landscape to go check out. And so you can look for the registration to close on that on October 19th. So you still have plenty of time to sign up. If you want a short URL to go to the registration, go.illinois.edu/Christian Tree Walk.
Beautiful. Those master gardeners could not talk enough about the Cahayas tree farm over there. It sounds really great. Linda Cahayas, I believe her name is. Sounds like she's created a really, really cool place over there. I mean,
it is real interesting and nice. And there's a lot of areas around Christian County and, our surrounding area that have a lot of nature and a lot of growing aspects. And it's a good time for apple picking. So you might stroll to a neighboring county or, it's just a good time for this fall season for things like apple picking and pumpkins and just mums. It's just 'tis the season.
We get a lot of really good growing done around here for so many different species of plants. Is that a Midwest thing? Is that an Illinois thing? Or have we really got something different within South Central Illinois that produces really good plants?
Well, I think when people are producing for a profit, they look for diversity. So if something doesn't work out in the particular season, that they have something else, and there is that value added aspect of what else can you sell, what can you make a product into, develop that value so you get more bang for the buck of your investment that you put into it.
Yeah. And the climate, soil here, it does work well with them to grow diverse plants, I'm sure.
Yeah, and the climate's adapting, and so we have these weather events that may not happen every year, but kind of, we've had a drought this year. So that affects plant material and the future of your planting. Earlier in the year, I was talking with Mel Repsher from Big M Berry Farm and how the frost protection of the strawberries, like not only just once, but I think 4 times he had to protect those strawberries in order to get a crop. So just thinking about the investment that growers, having that thermometer out in the strawberry patch and having to attend to that, and the amount of work and effort that our farmers, they really need a big thank you out there for, the efforts that they do to produce local food, and food that we can access here locally is a great option.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's weird because right now is harvest season. You see combines out in the country roads moving from field to field. That's really the only time you get to see them in action. But you just mentioned that some farmers are out there with a thermometer, checking, making sure that their crop is doing all right. I mean, I'm sure that well goes very deep with things that farmers are doing every day to ensure that crop. I mean, what can you say? I mean, we're thanking the farmers here. This is an agriculture station as well. The farmers hope are listening right now. But yes, farmers doing so much. And what else can you say about these little things that they do just to make sure that their crop is turning out well?
Well, and then for every farmer, I think they battle pests and diseases and insects. And I just had a client call yesterday and was having voles in their no-till soybeans. And it's like, well, what else could happen? What else could happen?
Yeah.
And so you just think of all the challenges that occur. And so I would just like to be here to support horticulture growers and the homeowner. If they got questions, they can reach out to me. And I think there's the end of September here, our Master Gardener Help Desk is wrapping up, but just take advantage of those resources that we have with the University of Illinois Extension, that we can find the answers to your questions and put you in the right research-based information to get the problem that you have hopefully solved.
Yeah, absolutely. I love you just brought up the research-based techniques. Obviously, University of Illinois Extension, they produce great webinars, obviously great services, programs that will just give great information to people like farmers. I mean, where can a farmer go for information? They know a lot. They can go to a guy like Andrew Holsinger. They can call you. They can message you. That's really cool. Where can people go to message you specifically if they wanted to?
Well, they can find my email on our website. Our website's extension.illinois.edu/CJMM, but my email is aholsing@illinois.edu, and you can call your local office, and those numbers are available on the website. The Christian County office is 217-287-7246.
Very cool. All right, awesome. That's where you
All
can
right.
go to find out all your horticulture needs. I'd love to talk about some of the programs you guys got coming up with the University
Sure.
of Illinois Extension on October 4th, a garden planning 101. That sounds really cool. What are you going to do at that?
Well, I'm going to give some insights into the development of planting a garden. So many people think like, well, I put the plants in the ground, I've got a garden started. Well, yes, true, but there's so much more that goes into the planning of a garden, and the techniques of layout. And if you're talking about like even putting in a flower bed, the edging material shouldn't be the showcase of the garden. Your layout shouldn't be dictated necessarily by the house. It should be dictated by the ground that you have and the design factors. And so when you look at those design factors, do you have an edge that's going to be easily mowed? Do you have some sustainability factors that you're not going to have to put more time into? You want it to be an easier effort than a more difficult throughout the season. So thinking about your plant selection, what's going to work well, what's going to survive. You don't want to be replanting every year. That's why a lot of people choose perennials, but you can get some color and pizzazz, I guess, with your annuals. So there's just a diversity of landscaping techniques to think about when you're developing a garden. And then you do have to think about costs. So having a budget, finding out where you're going to find your funding to develop your garden, whether you're going to have, a raised bed that you're going to have to purchase materials for, if you're going to have landscape edging, how are you going to, the plants themselves. So you can have a very simplistic design, maybe not as much cost, but as you add more plants, it does multiply the factor of cost. So thinking about the planting stages of not only planting, but then the maintenance. So how are you going to maintain the garden once it's planted? Do you have those, factors? How much mowing are you going to have to do? How much time in those perennial beds of dividing the perennials and things like that? So I'll be bringing up some of these topics to help relate that it's not just a one-step process of planting a garden, but really a 5-factor, there's a multiplicity of things that are going to be thought about when you're putting the garden together.
Sure. An amateur gardener like me would get those seeds in the ground and be like, I'm done. This is great. But no, there's a whole lot to consider. I didn't even think about landscaping and the types of plants you plant next to each other. Of course, it's going to affect things. So just the success of one's garden, it really pertains to how they start the whole thing. So that sounds really exciting. Sounds like it's going to be a really valuable experience there. That's the Garden Planning 101. That's getting started there on October 4th from 2 to 3 p.m. We got more programs we're going to be talking about here coming from the University of Illinois Extension office. We got Andrew Holsinger in our studios with us today. He's the University of Illinois Extension horticulture educator. We're going to learn more about those events when we come back. You're listening to the WTIM Morning Show.
Your information station, WTIM.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and wheat all trading lower. December corn down 3.5, 478 3/4. March corn down 3 1/4, 493 1/2. May corn 502 down 3.5. November beans 1304 1/4, down 15 3/4. January beans down 15 1/2, 1320 3/4. March beans 1333 down 13 3/4. December wheat 583 down 5 3/4. March wheat down 5 1/4. 609 1/2. October bean meal 392.70 down 450. October bean oil 60.70 up 2 cents. Livestock market at the sour. September feeders 253.32 down 85 cents. October live cattle 185.62 down $1.15. October lean hogs 84.42 down $1.35. Energy market November crude oil 90.44 up 78 cents. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
This is Randall J. Miller, president of the Miller Media Group. We're proud to bring you another Business of the Month spotlight, recognize an area business for their contributions to their town's employment and community service.
The Miller Media Group has named Taylorville Home Source Design Center on East Park as its Business of the Month. Owner Rick White, a Taylorville native, came back to town after living in Florida for many years. He and wife Kathy opened Taylorville Home Source on West Spresser almost 19 years ago. They moved to a larger location just under 3 years ago, offering Taylorville and South Central Illinois a greatly expanded selection of in-stock product. They also do in-house design for every customer.
We at the Miller Media Group take this time to recognize this local business as our Business of the Month. And we hope you'll use this business and other local businesses that keep our economy going every day. Spending dollars local makes sense.
Work hard, sleep well with Bemco and Just Beds. You work hard, your stress is high. You need the best night's sleep possible. That's just what you'll get at Just Beds. All this month, save on Bemco mattresses. Twin mattresses $149, queen mattresses just $229. Just Beds features Bemco's Arctic Breeze, Max Life, and the all-new Arctic Life mattresses. As always, free delivery, setup, and removal. Work hard, sleep well. Visit the Yawn Exterminators at Just Beds on Montvale Drive, Springfield.
Just Beds.
This is Megan Lopez with Nesty's Burger Joint on the south side of the Taylorville Square. To see our menu, click on our icon on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
This is Shalis Nagel, Executive Director at Kimmer Village in Assumption. To learn more about our services, click on our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show. My name is Tim Zalabak. We got Andrew Holsinger in the studio with us today. Thank you so much to our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust and Landmark Taylorville. That first half of our interview with Andrew Holsinger, he's the University of Illinois Extension horticulture educator. We talked about his great tree walk coming up this Saturday at Brimmer Sanctuary. There is still time to sign up for that one. Talked about another tree walk happening October 21st, a month from today. That'll be at the Cahayas Arboretum, a great tree walk with the Master Gardeners. And we've been talking a little bit about the upcoming events like the Garden Planning 101. That'll get going at October 4th from 2 to 3 p.m. Mr. Holsinger, let's move on to our next event here. The Fall Flowers event happening on October 9th for the youth. Well, what's that one going to look like?
Well, we're going to take a sampling of some fall flowers and make a bouquet in a jar. And so it should be an interesting time of some floral arranging. It's a good time to experience and engage with some of our fall flowers. Yeah. So
That sounds fun, making a bouquet, and that's easy
Yeah.
enough for the kids, like something they can take home.
Right.
I'm sure. So
Yep.
that'll be really fun. That'll be October 9th at 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. and that's over at Montgomery County Extension. So that one will be a little bit further away, but that's all right. Now, this one's going to be a really fun one to talk about because it's very relevant right now. The sensory gardens that are kind of in part with the Autism Movement Project that's out in Pana. There's a big story there. CoBank sharing success. They made a big donation there, matched some funds, and now the sensory gardens. It's going to be a really, really cool spot for people with disabilities to enjoy. Explain this place.
Yeah, it's a real interesting spot there in Pana. They have the railroad caboose that's there, and it's even in my short time this season, it's been painted, and they have the sensory garden that's installed, and the participants there at the AMP movement have been taking care of the plants, and we have master gardeners that are helping to manage some of that work and to give direction. But it's turned out to be a really good project, and I just gave the final okay on a nice interpretive sign, and so there'll be some signage there to help guide you through what a sensory garden is and what plants are there. And so it's nice to have a sensory garden in our local county here. It gives engagement with those to find out how they can experience some of those features of touch and taste and their smells. And so it's just interesting to see how all the dynamics of these plants can be brought together in such a small location. It is fairly small, but a lot of plants there and a lot to take in. So it's been exciting.
It sounds really exciting. It's a really, really great initiative. Talk to me a little bit about these interpretive signs you've made. Are they showing, hey, this one you should touch, this one you should taste even? I mean, what do those look like?
Well, it gives more of a broader overview, but those plants are there at the bottom with a picture of the plant and its common name. So gives some identification features.
Cool.
And just a good project to be with. And it also has a list of sponsors that donated to the project here in 2023. So
Wow, really good. And it's cool to hear that the some of the gardening will be handled by some people with disabilities, getting them active a little bit and just educating them. They can really find some passion in that, I'm sure.
Right.
And a very relaxing activity for them, I'm sure. So keep them away from loud noises, loud light brights, lights and stuff. So yes, it's gonna be very cool. That's the sensory garden. And where is that located? Do you have that exact address?
I believe it's 5 Oak Street in Pana. It's at the cross section, I think, of Oak Street in Maine.
Cool. Super, super cool. That's the sensory garden we're talking about there. And now for a little final event here, the sustainable practices for vegetable gardens. Interesting. On October 24th. What's that going to look like?
Well, people are interested in organic practices and being sustainable. And so I'm going to have some of those sustainable practices for discussion. One of those is row covers. And so putting row covers over your vegetables, you can exclude some insects. And so you can keep those insects that are a problem pest excluded, and then open some of those up for those pollinators, the plants that need pollination, your cucurbits, your squashes, what have you. You can look for some exclusion of those pests, but also you can do some season extension with some row covers. And so extending your season, getting a longer growing aspect of the garden. So good things to keep sustainable and keep growing throughout the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I recently just learned that organic doesn't mean it's more healthy for you. It means it's better for the environment. That's one of it was from someone from University of Illinois Extension. They were saying organic is definitely more sustainable for the environment. There's nothing to do with the nutritional value. So that's really cool.
Right.
Mr. Holsinger, thank you so much for being here with us today and getting us all informed. There's cool tree walks coming up and all this great stuff. So thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Absolutely. Let's finish off one more time. There is a tree walk this Saturday with Mr. Holsinger. He'll be leading it. That'll be at the Brimmer Sanctuary. And that tree walk will be this Saturday. What time?
10 to 11.
10 to 11. Amazing. This was Andrew Holsinger, University of Illinois Extension horticulture educator. We thank him so much for being here. My name's been Tim Zalabak, and this has been the WTIM Morning Show. Thank you all for listening.
Your information station, WTIM.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville.